Welcome to Next Level Greatness, the podcast. I just got chills over my next guest, Ana Gasol. I got chills again. She is a womb priestess, a womb mentor, a wombpreneur. And we've known each other for about a year. We were in a mastermind together. And I have to tell you that you are the first guest on my podcast. I have a feeling that we may be talking about sex and sexuality. So you are the first. Ana Gasol, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Hi, Barbie. Thank you so much. It is my honor to be here with you all and with you, Barbie, and to have an epic conversation. And honestly, I could not be happier to really have this conversation with you, to be here in the space and to talk all things biz and sexuality, magnetism, and anything that comes up.
Let's do it. So can we begin first by your background, because you have such an interesting background that I feel like the world doesn't hear enough about your education and how science and spirituality marry each other.
Oh, I love this question. And yes, so first, I started studying biotechnology. So I did my bachelor's in biotech, which is all about genetic engineering. It's all about molecular biology. So there was a moment in my life where I was doing research. So I did my master's thesis in what I thought it was the pinnacle of my scientific career at Cambridge University, thinking I'm going to be a big cancer researcher, oncologist. I'm going to help cure cancer and whatnot. And I was really devoted to understand the workings of the cell. So this was my geeky side. I love cell biology. So I loved studying the interaction between proteins and the signaling cascades between them. So that was what I was doing. But I was feeling so empty inside. And there was a moment where I was like, okay, this is meant to feel really good on paper. And I'm dead inside. What is life right now? Cambridge University, I was a master's student finishing there. I was starting my PhD and I'm like, but this is not it. If it's meant to be feeling good, this does not feel good. So I took a one-way ticket to India. I was like, I'm going to go study yoga. I'm going to take a gap year. And it was really hard for me to really let go because I had the amazing resume. So it was really hard for me to let go of that. But when I did, I went on this whole spiritual awakening journey and womb awakening journey. And it was like, whoa, a year turned into 4-5 years of traveling through the world. I went to Australia. I hitchhiked alone. The first time I entered the US was by hitchhiking after teaching yoga in the ashram in Canada, where I was a yoga teacher assistant. And my life started to be this whole unfolding of trusting that there was something higher for me. And then I hit a rock bottom moment, heartbreak. I hit the lowest moment of my life, completely feeling not feminine, completely feeling I wanted to adjust and change myself for that partner to love me, which I thought that he would be the father of my children. And then I was like, it was lockdown hit down. It was pandemic. I was like in Lake Atitlan, Guatemala. I chopped my hair. I was like not feeling myself. I was dressing in a way that it was not even myself. I felt like so disconnected to my sexuality. We didn't even make love at all together. It was like I felt so dull. And then I came back to my roots after being gone for 7 years. And eventually I started to reconnect to my womb. I started to see the importance, how to heal that relationship. And that's how my whole life changed from being a scientist into being this womb mentor that I am today. It's been a wild ride.
So I've known you for a year and I didn't know so many parts of this. You said that when you came back home and you started reconnecting to your roots, that you started connecting to your womb. How did you know to do that?
Great question, because it intuitively happened. And at the same time, throughout my travels, I started to discover the power of connecting to my menstruation. So I started to paint with my blood when I was in Australia, because I started to see how I was very disconnected. I had a lot of PMS. I had a lot of sexually distorted relationships. And back then I knew I wanted to have a tantric partner, but I was not a match to those kind of partners. And I was attracting men that it was not what I wanted. And I'm like, why is it that I know what I want, but I'm not a match to that? So that's already how my womb journey started, a long time before going through that breakup. However, when I went through that breakup, what happened is that I still, as a spiritual people, we tend to, or if you like psychology, you tend to intellectualize, oh yeah, that happened because of that, because he had that trauma. And we tend to intellectualize, but I couldn't remove his energy out of my system. And that was why. So I started to go into somatics and going and working with the yoni egg. And that's why I started to clear the energy from my womb space. And from that moment is when I went through what I call my womb awakening, which realizing how to cleanse my womb from those past relationships, and I claim my power back to me. And that was how it started to go from one little thing to another little thing. And I was like, whoa, if I'm not a match to the partners that I desire, it's because I have some sexual distortions. So that's why I started to dive into my subconscious and work through the tissues of my womb and work into these different practices. And it was a whole journey of remembrance, because this is the work I've done in past lives. And back then, in that moment, I started to remember that past life where I had done this. It was a very much of an intuitive journey. And for someone logical here might be like, yeah, sure. No, but actually really.
Yeah, well,
really,
you know
really.
what? I have to tell you, I think my audience is probably more logical with a little sprinkle of woo, although it may be changing. Sure. So I think that many people are like, oh my God, painting with your blood and like womb ceremonies and all this stuff. It's what? And yet, I have to confess to the listener that I was also like, who the fuck is this woman? She sounds a little crazy. Yet, and yet, there's this joy to you. There's this, ooh, I just got goosebumps. I'm like, there's this joy to you. There's this authenticity. And I actually took one of your programs called Majestic Drip, and it was amazing. It was amazing, and my experience was amazing. So, ladies and gentlemen, Ana Gasol is the real deal. So how does your science background blend in with the work that you do now as a womb priestess? Because I know that it does.
First, I just want to say, Barbie, I love you so much. And it was such an honor to have you in Majestic Trip. And it was so much fun because that's exactly the thing, right? I love to bridge for the logical mind that cannot comprehend or grasp these topics, or for the logical mind that thinks that all of this is and what is past lives, or what is the thing, energetics. But actually, I translate it into the science of it. Yeah. And that's why the logical mind can understand it, because it's all about bridging science and spirituality. It's not about being on the other side of the spectrum of, oh yeah, we do a ceremony and we connect and that's it. It's actually, no, here's the science. The work that is going to help you blossom in your radiance. And I am proof of my own radiance. Looking me like 3 years back or 4 years back, I'm not that person. I'm a completely different human being. And all the women that go in through my journeys, they blossom. And it is not magic, it is science. And the science of pleasure or sexuality has been so distorted. And that's why we believe it's woo, or it sounds weird, but actually it's very scientific.
Yes. And in fact, so two things. I was going to say, in fact, when I took your program, Majestic Drip, you used a lot of diagrams, some from Dr. Joe Dispenza, who, it's not that he's mainstream, but he's well established, respected. And how you talked a lot about the electromagnetic field and how we could, what's the word that I'm looking for? How we could, what's the word? Like
magnetize?
Yeah, magnetize, and like how what I'm seeing in my mind are like the images that you showed us where people's electromagnetic field was very tiny, so kept within like just inches of their body or just like splotchy. And through meditation and through the work that you offer, that the electromagnetic field is expanded. And so I'm like, this whole episode is a goosebump moment for me, because we literally become magnetic. So the second thing is, I remember looking on your Instagram, John, this was just maybe 1 or 2 months ago, you had shared a before picture, I guess it was 2020, and I could hardly recognize you. I think a lot of times we look at people and we're like, oh, they're superstars, or you're a freaking goddess. You just like ooze sexuality and joy and all these, just, you're amazing. And I just assumed that you had always been that way. But when I saw that picture, I saw the proof that there was this like light bulb that had been turned off. So talk to us about a little bit about the science of awakening your body, whatever you want to talk about with that.
I'm also having full body reactions as you're talking, Barbie. I'm like, I hope the listeners are also feeling this, because this is very activating to have these kind of conversations and to bring the science behind all of this. So let's break it down. I would love for the audience to really have a taste of this. Okay, yeah. Sex magic, let's make it practical. And how can you, Barbie, as a business coach, right? How can these affect your life and the practices that you did, right? How they can blossom into your life. We know that through meditation, with the work of Joe Dispenza, right? We know that we can change our reality, and he literally has miracles happen in his conferences, literally, right? And this is scientific. The same happens through embodiment and through pleasure, meaning that when we connect to pleasure is life force energy, it is sexual energy. And sexual energy is literally just energy, life force. So when we release the perversion out of it and we don't see it as a transaction, which is what we normally see in our day-to-day life and what we have been programmed by porn and whatnot, it is that sexuality is, okay, let's have sex. Did you get your orgasm? No, not yet. Are you there yet? Oh yeah, I got mine, I got yours, right? Like this energy is very transactional, right? And it's very in the mind. However, when we learn to understand that the journey of arousal and the journey of waking up to your senses, what it actually does, it's relax your nervous system from stress, from fight or flight, into parasympathetic nervous system, rest and digest. What we do with this is we start to glow. There is an energy that starts to be activated and liberated in our electromagnetic field. Just as we can imagine our aura being this, and how I like to call it is, I don't know if you have seen Dragon Ball Z in the anime, like Dragon Ball is like a anime character that whenever he goes into super warrior mode and there's a whole aura that starts to light up. The same happens for us when we connect to our sexual energy. There is a light bulb that was switched off, just like me in 2020, like not the same person whatsoever, because my womb was not awakened. There was numbness. And what do I mean by numbness is that the connective tissue, and we all have connective tissue all over the body. That's why deep tissue massage works out really well. However, the area of the genitals is the area where all of our sexual energy is, the reproduction energy. So if you are born from an orgasm, is an electromagnetic pulse that is able to download a new soul and birth new lives. So when we understand the circuitry of this energy, we can start to breathe it, and through techniques like breath work, through techniques like pleasure ceremonies, without the intention of reaching the outcome, because generally speaking, most people have orgasms, but they are not full body orgasms. They are orgasms that they lose the energy out of the body. And that doesn't give you the radiance and the glow that you're searching for. However, when we do these ceremonial ways, gradual awakening, what we did in Majestic Drift, for example, it was a journey of awakening, very gradual. And I would tell you, you have 1 hour ceremony with your partner, and now it is forbidden to orgasm. How do you enter that ceremony? And then when we do that, we release the transaction and we learn to enjoy the way, we learn to open our nervous system to receive. And for instance, this is how we calibrate through quantum leaps and through big money milestones, is like regulating us back and tapping us back into I'm safe through pleasure. And yes, you can do your meditations, please do them, but why not also doing pleasure ceremonies?
Oh, this was so beautifully said. This is your magic. This is what we're talking about. And I really invite the listener to go and check you out and experience. You have some snacks and you have big packages and small packages and all of that, but you just have to experience you, because I think that you broke it down in really a simple way, but also I get to understand. I feel like my body understands it now because I've experienced it thanks to you. Can you talk a little bit more? You talked about quantum leaping and quote unquote, I don't know if you said the word success, but I was thinking like money. And how does that have to do with, how does a calm nervous system, regulated nervous system have to do with quantum leaps and money and manifestation? Because this I had never seen. And to be honest, it was when you helped me see that link and I was like, oh, okay, maybe I am interested in this whole movie business.
I love this. And I love this question, right? Because all of us, we want to reach the milestones, right? And I see the milestones as this orgasm. So imagine you want to reach the 7 figures, the 8 figures, the 6 figures, wherever we're in the journey of the evolution of our business, it doesn't matter because it's the next level. So it's a leap. It's the next level in which it feels unknown to us. So in this unknown, this is us trusting the feminine, because the feminine it has the quality of the unknown. And when we don't know what's coming, it feels unsafe for our nervous system. Let's suppose that you're calling in your 6-figure months. Let's suppose that we're calling in 6-figure months. Okay. Right now, you have 10K months, and now you want a 10x to the 100K months. Okay. That in your nervous system feels like a shift of identity. It feels like a lot. It feels like, who am I going to become when I shift into that? Or a $1 million week. We can talk about it. And maybe you have had a $1 million year. Now you want a $1 million month or $1 million week, right? It's all about this regulation of feeling safe. Because our ability to receive the money, the clients, the impact in our communities, to be on stages and to go really big and take our businesses and legacies to really big audiences is our ability to feel safe, and also our ability to feel worthy of that. So worthiness comes when you give yourself pleasure. You feel your queendom, you feel worthy, because you are not rushing to yourself. You are creating intentional space for ceremonies. You're regulating your nervous system in the science of activating or turning towards a parasympathetic way of living, in which you're just leading your business through pleasure. You're enjoying everything that you create, knowing that there is a long-term mentality, knowing that there is no rush in the performance of the now, knowing that, okay, I'm on a launch right now. Okay, and I'm going to be a launch again, and I'm going to create a membership, and I'm going to create another thing, and there is no rush. Let me enjoy this launch. Let me enjoy this time that I'm going live, or this podcast interview. Let me savor every stage of my business. This is what pleasure teaches us. And to me, this is the link that a lot of us, we get so fixated in our minds. And that's why quantum leaps, maybe you reach a big milestone. And I remember when I had my first 5-figure month, my nervous system got fried. I was like, ooh. Yeah, I couldn't recreate it again. And for the following months, I was like, and I wanted to do it again. But it's when you have the most amazing orgasm, and it's like, how am I going to have it again? That was like not normal, because we're not normalizing these big new things, because we live in a state of survival, generally speaking, in the matrix. And that's what we're doing here. We're creating a path of liberation, of financial freedom, time freedom, pleasure-led living. We want to have the most epic relationship with our partners, with our family members. But if we don't have a regulated nervous system, then we cannot achieve these new milestones in our business, because we have all these different areas of our life that are like, yeah, maybe you're putting a lot of action in your business, but who are you being as you put that action? Are you allowing yourself to receive, right? Because that's what it will help you receive and anchor you in this new timeline.
Absolutely. And I think most of the world is living in the matrix, and everything is go do. So you specifically focus on the womb, sensuality, sexuality. Right now, it seems that more and more people are talking about the mainstream, and more people are just talking about a regulated nervous system. but not in the context of sexuality. So what is there a difference?
I
What if,
think
yeah, and why is it important? Why is, it sounds like a silly question almost, but it's not silly, right? Like, why is a regulated nervous system and pleasure, I don't know if the question is more important, but why pleasure, why sexuality, sensuality, and not just let me make sure that I'm regulating my nervous system and, you know, do a yoga nidra.
I love that. Thank you for this question. Actually, it's a really important question because, yeah, there's techniques just like breath work or meditation, right? Why pleasure? Because as human beings, we are in the 3D, so we are matter. So we are literally energetic batteries. With our electromagnetic fields, we are literal batteries. And one thing is to regulate your nervous system, right? And to know when you are in that survival mode and to be able to take deep, long breaths and come back into a state that it feels grounded and aligned. And also the nervous system, it needs to be able to also go into activation. If you have something like a survival situation, you want it to be active, right? Like it's not about, I always want to be in that state. However, why pleasure and why sexuality? It is because the power of manifestation, of our manifestation, happens with as much energetic, like voltage, I would call it.
Yeah.
How do you cultivate that voltage? It is through sexuality, because we are sexual machines. There is nothing more powerful than us being turned on, so much so that our body can start to shake involuntarily, so much so that you can literally get lost into nothingness. And that's why the yogis talk about Tantra as the fastest path to spiritual realization, because sexual energy is it is the most powerful energy that exists, because it's the energy to procreate. However, when we understand and alchemize this energy and we breathe the energy from the lower chakras, which most of humanity right now is living in the lower chakras, but you understand the direction of this energy and you recirculate it to the upper chakras and create this vortex of energy, this electromagnetic field, we start to build up a certain light. And that is the light bulb glow up that you saw 2020 to now. What is this? It is this recirculation of energy. And what that does is, like, when you set your mind, you take aligned action with this energy, this manifestation power.
This is what I was looking for. I'm like, this is it. Tell us more about that, right? Because when you've got this circulating energy, you're glowing, you're a magnet, and then things can't help but come to you.
Yes. Why? Because the thoughts are electric. And we can feel the thoughts in our aura like electricity. And that's why whenever we have a bad day, we all know that. If you are like in a negative loop, you go to the supermarket and all the timeline that will happen, the nasty person will be there. Things are not going to work out because you're in that timeline, because that's the crispy energy in your aura, which is like static, right? However, when your thoughts are of positivity, in the sense, not bypassing, but you believe that everything is happening for you. You trust that you are here to experience the fullness of life. You deserve that. You feel worthy. These thoughts will be charged in your aura. And through the power of emotions, which are magnetic, you start to feel, and that's why the beautiful Melanie Ann Layer talks about the 1 foot in gratitude, 1 foot in desire, which is all about desire. It is these thoughts of, wow, I desire this. And gratitude is the emotion, which is magnetic. So you create an electromagnetism that it is very conducive for you to receive your highest timeline, because you are having the best life, you're enjoying, and also you're feeling grateful where you are. You are not rushing it because you are not chasing for the big the big milestone. You're enjoying every step of the way and you're loving it. Even if one person shows up to your courses, you're loving it. And let me give you this example, because this Black Friday, I had epic sales, and I had sales from a course that only one woman showed up live back in the day. And that one ceremony I did, it was a yoni gazing ceremony. And that day, that woman couldn't join. And guess what? I did that ceremony alone. No one was there. And this Black Friday, you know what? It was the whole testament of, like, it doesn't matter if no one shows up, because this is going to be reaching thousands one day. So if you have that mentality, this is like you're not rushing to go anywhere.
And this is the beauty of having been in a mastermind or being in a mastermind, that I really got to witness you and the way that you carried yourself. There was a period, if I can say it, right, of
Yeah.
months. There was a period of
Yes.
4 months when you didn't have a client and you were doing all the things, and energetically you were holding yourself as well. And it's just been so incredible to see and to witness you. And this is why I wanted to invite you, because out there are a lot of people that preach a certain thing or say they're a certain thing, but to be able to witness you and know that you really do practice and live with every ounce of your being what you teach and who you say, it's so beautiful. And I think I need to get myself back in your world, by the way. Oh my God, I've missed you. I've missed you.
I miss you too. Oh my God.
Yeah, I've missed you so much. So what kinds of services do you offer for women coming in that have no idea what the heck you're talking about, but are intrigued? Just give us like a little overview before we wrap up.
Amazing. Yeah. First, I want to mention that aspect and maybe elaborate what you said about having 4 months without clients, because that was it. I remember that was right after I had the second launch of this program, where the first one was a 5-figure launch. So I feel like this is a great example. Yeah. And then after that, because I had the expectations, and that's a great example on quantum leaping and whatnot, because that launch was amazing. And then I had the expectation was really high because I was attached. It didn't come. And I had a lot less women in that space. And then my energy got clocked up. Right after that, I experienced 4 months without clients, because I thought there was something wrong with me. Still, I was showing up every single day. And then one day I started, 1 week I was doing a new launch, and within that same week, 6 women joined my Wompreneur Academy. Remember? Yeah. It was like a whole, like, how did that even happen? It was a 5-figure sale week. And I was like, whoa, after 4 months of no clients, right? So that gets to show you it's all about, it doesn't matter the actions that you're going to take. It's about the energetic receptivity.
Yes. So I was going to ask, what shifted for you to break that spell? Because you said that you were attached, and I get it, because it happens to me too. I've taught Money Magnet, and then at the moment that I'm teaching Money Magnet, if people don't start coming in, I can feel the shift in my energetics, and then I'm like, oh Lord, I know what's happening. No one's gonna come in until I'm able to like relax and change my state. So what happened with you where things shifted again and then it started pouring down women?
So that's what happened, which was, I knew what I had to do, but I was postponing it, right? So I was bypassing it. And we all have ways to self-sabotage in business. And that's why it's so important to know what are your self-sabotaging tendencies. So for me, it was like, I was not doing my yoga. I'm a yoga teacher. So yoga is, and being in tune and having a strong body, that's really important for me. And of course, like I was bypassing my yoga. So my energy was not freely flowing, because we know that the power of manifestation is when the energy freely flows. So I was not doing my yoga, I was not eating so well, and I was not doing my pleasure ceremonies. I was too focused, and I was launching things, and I launched my podcast, which it's amazing. But I was very much in my mind, not so much in my pleasure. And then I was like, you know what? We're about to go on this launch of the Wompreneur Academy. It was spring, and I was like, you know what? Let's do this. Let's just go all in the tools that I know that work for me. Let me enjoy the process. What happens if no one joins? Nothing. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep launching, because I'm not here to stop, because I have this long mentality, right? I'm not here if right now in this lovemaking with my partner, if it doesn't feel like, if I don't orgasm, it's okay. I'm enjoying to be intimate with you. I don't need to orgasm right now. And the moment you release it, boom, it comes in full body, right? So that's exactly what happened. I was like, you know what? Yes, that big launch didn't work as it wanted. I released it. I was like, let me enjoy the way. Let me do my yoni practices, my pleasure ceremonies, my embodiment, my sensual embodiment. And it was like, boom. I don't even know what happened. It just happened.
It just happened.
And you can
get in the zone, in your zone, and you you started living what you actually teach. But we all have those moments where we slip out. So for someone that is a novice to this whole world, where do they start with you?
Sure. Yeah. So there's different places that you can plug in. So I have a lot of free masterclasses for the ones already that you want to start and learn a little bit more about how pleasure can activate you. I have a whole bolt of trainings with free masterclasses. I'm going to, of course, send Barbie the link to that vault so that you can have a look. I have my Cosmic Wombs podcast, and in there, I also teach a lot on the science of pleasure. Yes. And then there is different levels. So there is different courses, but what I would recommend is my womb mastermind right now. I have Majestic Drip, which is an amazing self-paced course. It's 21 days of self-pleasure. I feel like that's a great place to start in, because it's like, going through like the awakening of pleasure and taking it gradually. But that is a self-paced journey. And honestly, the best place to start is being held to me. And that's my Mystic Priestess Awakening, so that's the place where I would say, go there. You can do the self-paced courses. I also have a Yoni X self-paced course called Radiance. There's different self-paced courses, but really, the space to be is 3 months together. It's going to change your lifestyle. It's going to change your life. And if you have clients, you can also help them run their business through this lens, through the lens of the womb. And there's nothing more magical than really go through this deep activation in a womb mastermind. So that's a space I would recommend. Yeah.
So beautiful, because I was in a space where it felt like a little bit like a mastermind and just the connection, and you give so much. And it's not in my comfort zone to speak about sexuality, and especially my own. And so this is a first for the podcast. And I haven't even spoken about myself. You see that. But I want to say, I was so comfortable in your space. You really do create this beautiful, safe space. And one of the reasons why I don't come from scarcity. And so I'm happy if people purchase from you and they find you, because I know that if women are working with me, that they're going to benefit from working with you. And so a healed world, and where women are regulated and satisfied and just glowing. Oh my goodness.
You're so generous, Barbie. Thank you so much. You are incredible. And also, I want to say that the way that you lean into Majestic Dream and all the magic that you brought in the space, it was such an honor for me to hold you through that journey as well. And really, for any woman that feels like, really, it sounds exciting, but it feels edgy, just lean in if you feel the call. And this is how we are doing it, and how we're healing the sacred feminine wound, which is, there is no competition. Barbie is a freaking badass. You all hear her like, oh my God, like the codes that she exudes, right? There is no competition, because we are all unique flowers. And that's the last thing I'm gonna leave you with, is you cannot compare a rose to a sunflower. Why? Because we are all so unique. And the moment we tap into our sexuality, we see how worthy we are, how unique we are, and how there is no competition between women. We're all rising together. And this is when you see your own worth. Barbie has nothing to hide, because she knows she's a badass. I have nothing to hide. All my clients, go work with Barbie. She's amazing. And all her, if you want this, go with her. There is no competition.
Oh, no. And if you're feeling the edginess, like you're curious, because the first time I even heard of a yoni egg was when you mentioned it, and I was, remember that? I was like, what the hell is a yoni egg? And I have to tell you that I bought one. I've only used it like once. So I do need to plug into your world, by the way, but we'll talk. But I would say that it feels edgy, and you could just dip your toe in. But once I put my feet in with Majestic Drip, I was like, oh, it's gradual and it feels safe. And there were some spicy conversations in there, but like, you can participate or not participate, right? You'll be at home and you'll be safe. And I've seen you through all of your phases, through the ups and downs, the happy moments, sad moments of grief, moments of anger. Like, we've seen each other through all of that, not just me see you. You've seen me, and you really are such a pure, authentic soul that I put my stamp on approval on you. Just you're so pure, so real. So I love you. Thank you for being a part of my podcast today.
Thank you, Barbie, and everyone listening. It's been my honor and such a pleasure. And please DM me, reach out. And I'm so excited to be in the space and to have had this conversation with you. And it is such an honor. So thank you, Barbie, because we've gone through it and I've seen you and you've seen me. And this is just the beginning, baby. We're taking it to the next level. Watch out for 2024, Barbie. Watch out.